Hey guys, welcome back to What's the Point? My name is Mark. And throughout this whole season, we're going to be looking at the parables of Jesus and what they all mean. I know you're going to like this video already, so why don't you hit the like, hit the subscribe, ding the bell for notifications, and let's get into this. So all of us at the Message Trust, we're all in bands. So I'm in a Mox Falls, I play guitar, and there's Soulbox, there's OTC, and there's Bright Line too. Our job is to go out into schools and teach people about God. We do lessons on things like bullying and respect and identity, loving your neighbor, loads of good stuff like that. We play music, but mainly we're there to tell people that there's a God who is real and that loves them. It's a really cool job, I'm not gonna lie, I love it. It's a lot of fun. And this one time, we went into school in Wales. It was like a 4-hour-ish drive down to South Wales, and we packed up all our gear in the van the night before. We drove down, we get to Wales, we start unloading the van, and the van is now empty, all the gear is in, and I'm like, I haven't seen my guitars once. Like, my only job is to play guitar. And I'm like, nuts, man, I need to find my guitar. So I'm searching around the school, and I just realized that I never packed them. I never packed them in the van. It's 4 hours away, it's way too late to go back and get them. And like, my whole thing is done. I'm so embarrassed in that moment that I left them in Manchester. Andy is with me at the side stage. Andy, do you remember your reaction?
Yes, I do remember my reaction. I was equally embarrassed, but not for me, for you.
Yeah, it kind of sucked, right?
Yeah, because I was unloading the van, like, I'm pretty sure I should have seen Mark's guitars by now. And then when you realized you'd forgotten, I was like, oh my gosh, we look like idiots. What are we gonna do?
We look like buffoons and fools. And looking back now, it's quite like a funny story, but at the time, I was freaking out. I would have done anything to get my guitars back. I was so desperate, I would have given anything. And that feeling is what we're gonna be looking at today. That's right, we're gonna be looking at a parable in a book called Matthew, chapter 13, verse 44 to 46. It's a dead quick one. If you're reading it in the higher Bible, that is on page 745. So I'm just gonna read it, it's very, very quick, it's here. It's called Parables of the Hidden Treasure and the Pearl. And yes, you're right, that does sound like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but it's not. It's a parable from Jesus. It says this: the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure that a man discovered hidden in a field. In his excitement, he hid it again, sold everything he had to get enough money to buy the field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant on the lookout for choice pearls. When he discovered a pearl of great value, he sold everything and bought it. Same story told in two different ways. But there are two things that we can learn from this parable. But before I go any further, Andy, tell us what's a parable.
A parable, Mark, is a story that Jesus told with a point or with a meaning to help us understand more of what he was saying. Pretty much it.
I love that, you nailed it. I think we can learn two amazing things from this parable. The first thing is that Jesus calls us to give up everything to get what he's got for us. If you watched the last episode where Andy was doing the what's the point bit, he was telling us that Jesus represents all great things in the world. He represents life, he represents love, he represents equality, he represents passion, he represents peace, he represents perfection. And Jesus gives us the opportunity to have access to these things. In the parable, the man finds a treasure and he sells everything. He gives up everything he has to get that treasure. And this is what Jesus is calling us to as well. This isn't exclusive to the made-up man in the story. This is like Jesus saying, please, please give up everything because I've got so much more than what the world does. Because often we can get so distracted by like things in the world. And when I say in the world, I mean like things that distract us from God. So like when I was at school, I was distracted by popularity. Like I was desperate to become the most popular guy. Because in my world, that was the most important thing. You saw the popular people and they went to the cool parties and had like loads of girlfriends and they just seemed really cool. And it seemed like that was like the meaning of life and that was everything. But Jesus shows us that that's actually a distraction. It doesn't actually matter. Jesus created you to be you. Exactly whoever you are watching this right now, Jesus created you to be exactly who you are and not to chase something that maybe someone else is calling on their life. Again, like for me, my brother was really, really clever. He was my older brother, and so I'd always want to be as clever as him. He was like, you know, going to uni and trying to be a doctor, and I was like, I don't have the brain for that, but I really wanted it. But now I see that actually that wasn't the calling on my life. But Andy, what do I mean by calling?
You could have multiple callings in your life. As Christians, we believe Jesus gives us the calling or the purpose or the meaning of our life. In other words, what he's got us here on this earth to do. It could be to have a certain job. It could be to look out for those in our community who need help. It can be absolutely anything at all. Maybe it's using a gift that you've got.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Andy. We can get so distracted from the calling that God has on our life by distractions in the world. The Bible also says that you can't serve two masters. Actually, if we want to be following God, we have to just follow God. And that's really easy to say, but really, really hard to do. So for me in school, that was like popularity. I was really chasing after that. But God was calling me to so much more. Maybe for you, it's like fame. You would like to be famous, you'd like to go viral, and you want to be like a TikTok star or whatever. But maybe that's not the calling on your life. Maybe God's calling you somewhere else. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's relationships. Maybe it's a certain friendship group. Maybe it is a job in the future. Jesus calls us to give everything up, to give up our hopes and our dreams, and to focus on what he has called us to. And the thing is that sounds tough. But in the passage, the guy gets so much more. He finds the thing that he has been searching for years. He finds meaning. That's what the treasure is here. The treasure isn't actually like a treasure chest of pirate booty. That's not what it is. It's meaning, it's purpose, it's a calling. And that is what I want to extend to you guys today, is you have the opportunity to say yes to Jesus and no to the distractions of the world. And it sounds tough, but it will genuinely change your life. Because God knows you more than even you know yourself. God knows you way more than I do. And he knows what he's called you to. He's given you gifts, abilities. He's given you, like Andy said, a calling, a reason to be. Don't you want to engage with that? The thing that the creator of the universe has blessed you with. I think that's pretty insane. So let's just pause the video, take a couple minutes just to really analyze what things are distracting you from getting that treasure. What things are in the way of you and God. Why don't you just hit that pause button for a sec. The second amazing thing I think we can learn from this passage is you can actually flip it on its head. Not only does the man represent us, but I think the man can represent Jesus as well. Jesus is looking in a field and finds treasure and gives up everything he has in order to get that treasure. Do you know what that treasure is? You! It's you! It's me! It's everybody! That's awesome! Jesus finds you in a field and gives up everything he has to get you back. In the Bible, we find out that Jesus loves the world. We find out that the world is broken, and in order to restore that broken relationship, Jesus gives his life in your place. In other words, Jesus finds a treasure, you, and gives up everything he has, his own life, in order to have the field. That is the world. That is insane. If you ever doubt your value, if you ever doubt that you have purpose, meaning that you are here intentionally, read Matthew 13 verses 44 to 46 and read your own value. Jesus sees you, he finds you, he loves you so much, and he gives up everything he has just to get you back. That's pretty insane. If you ever doubt how much you're worth, please reread it and remember. So I've got two challenges for you today. The first one refers to my first point. What can you surrender to God today? What can you give over that's a distraction, that is maybe distracting you from your calling that God has on your life? What can you lay down and say, you know what? I'm going to be intentional at not chasing popularity this week. I'm not actually going to care what those people think, and realize, how does your behavior change? What can you surrender? Maybe for you, that's like, actually it needs to be like cold turkey. I'm not going to watch TV tomorrow. Instead, I'm going to give my time to God. Or like, I'm not going to do X, Y, Z, whatever it was that you prayed when we paused the video a little while ago. Make a commitment right now to say, you know what? I'm going to act differently for the betterment of Jesus. That would be an amazing thing to get from What's the Point today. The second thing is, I'd like you to do what I said earlier. Read this passage on your own. Remember your value. Remember how much Jesus would give. And if I could chuck in a third one, if you have never acknowledged that Jesus would give up everything for you, if you've never said yes to a relationship with Jesus, maybe today's the day. Maybe you found this video and you recommended, maybe your friend sent you this, I don't know. But if you've never ever said yes to Jesus, if you've never ever accepted that he is real, that he loves you, and that he died for you, maybe today's that day. There's some links in the description that are going to help you out to figure out those next steps. But I would love for you to do that. because it will genuinely, radically change your life. Because ultimately, the treasure in this passage is finding meaning, is finding purpose, is finding out that you are loved by the God who created all things, who created you, who sees you where you're at, and loves you so much that he would willingly give his life in your place. Thank you so much for tuning in this time to What's the Point? See you next time.
See ya. There's probably some videos appearing here you should click on. Click on this one. This is a good one. Don't click on this one. Unless I'm in it, when you should click on it. Click on this one. No, wait. This one. I don't know. Just pick. I don't know. Help. I'm just going to wave. I don't have a watch.